Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode. Today I want to read you this really cool article that I was going over on the Wall Street Journal. I have Wall Street Journal and I pay a grip for it so you don't have to. It's a really cool article, stick with me. I guarantee you're going to get something out of it, and this is the surefire way to understand what's happening with our economy by understanding big box retailers. The article reads, stores brace shoppers to rein in on spending. Customers are growing cautious, and companies from Walmart to Procter & Gamble are altering course to reflect the changing budgets. Mom only has money right now for the bare bone basics, which means that people in the economy are changing their spending habits, which is a very good thing, but it's kind of bittersweet. The reason why they're changing their habits is because inflation is through the roof, and we are currently in a recession without most people even knowing that we are in a recession. So changing your spending habits comes from inflation and a recession. But the changing in spending habits is actually the way that we get out of a recession and out of high inflation. By bringing up interest rates, this de-incentivizes people from borrowing money or spending outside their means. And this allows people to spend less. Eventually, this is how you bring America out of the recession, and eventually how you reduce the inflation and have a very barcode type of inflation, which is a 2% rate. This is the whole point of what's happening right now, interest rates going up, so spending habits could change. Because right now we have something called an adverse reaction to supply chains, which means the demand is through the roof for the supplies that we have. If we reduce the demand, our supplies will diminish. If we reduce our demand, our supplies for the demand will be enough. And by reducing our demand for the limited supply, this is going to reduce the price of the supply. As less people are willing to spend more money for certain items, this will reduce the price of the items we have. Eventually, everything will calm down. It just takes time. You as a consumer are not willing to spend more money, which means big box retailers cannot charge as much money, which means the suppliers that supply the big box retailers must reduce their prices as well. And it's a huge revolving cycle that brings back our economy to equilibrium. Hopefully that only takes the next 6 to 12 months and we're out of this crazy economy that we're in right now. This is a really cool picture. It shows Walmart, it shows Procter & Gamble, it shows Tractor Supply Company, and it shows Michael. These are all big box retailers, right? And it says Walmart is stocking more half gallons of milk for shoppers who can't afford a full gallon of milk. Procter & Gamble is tooting a dish soap bottle that allows users to save money by extracting every drop. Michael's is curtailing the marketing of high-priced craft tools that shoppers may no longer be in the mood to buy. Many of the companies whose mission is now the U.S. customers are bracing for a shift in spending as inflation rises and stocks wobble. They are bringing back more bargains, cheaper store brands, and reward programs for shoppers who want to save where they can't, even as some continue to spend robustly on everything from apparel to pet food. For most of the people with an untrained eye, this would not mean anything for you. But I'm telling you, this is the first step in getting our economy back on track. Right now, everything is out of whack because everybody spent those beautiful stimulus checks on stupid shit, and people spent SBA loans that they were not supposed to be spending on stupid shit, expensive big box items, and that's what caused inflation. Not the only thing, but one of the main things that caused inflation. Well, now America has had enough of it, and now the prices need to be reduced. Really cool article. Let me read you another piece of this article. Many shoppers, especially from wealthy households, still have plenty of spending power, according to data released Friday by the Commerce Department. And overall retail sales remain strong. Okay, this is very interesting. But consumer sentiment has dropped to its lowest level in more than 10 years. According to data from the University of Michigan released last Friday, The saving rate has also dropped in recent months. The savings rate over the last 2 years or so was 5%. This got dropped to 4.4%. It doesn't sound like a big number. However, Americans are going into their pocket nearly 10% of their savings to buy items, which means they are running out of money because everything is so darn expensive. As they run out of money, they will refuse to pay the prices of certain goods. As they refuse to pay the prices of certain goods, it's going to get really ugly, and big box retailers will be laying off a lot of workers. As they lay off these workers now have to live on unemployment, but the unemployment won't be the COVID unemployment. It will be the bare minimum unemployment. So they can no longer take their $1,400 check and go buy some Gucci bag or some Prada shoes. They must now try to live their life as best they can with constraint and without tremendous help from the United States government. As this happens, the people that are laid off are going to be spending less money, which means the big box retailers need to reduce the prices of their items. When this happens, it does take a while, but this is going to bring our economy back on track. I did make a video before talking about a price-wage spiral. Well, this is the opposite of a price-wage spiral, and I'm not sure if there's an actual name for it. The price-wage spiral is quite simply this. As inflation goes up, workers ask for raises to keep up with inflation. Big box retailers give these raises. As they give the raises, they raise their prices or service price equivalent plus some. Those same workers that got a raise now have to pay more money for the same goods that they originally asked a raise for, and they cannot possibly keep up. This is the opposite. As people are not spending money, big box retailers must reduce the prices instead of increase their prices. It's gonna get really ugly, but hopefully over the course of the next 6 to 12 months, something is gonna give and we're gonna get back on track. One big retailer, Target Corp, said it was surprised by the new customer behavior. While we anticipated a post-stimulus slowdown, big ticket categories, and we expected consumers to continue refocusing their spending away from goods into services, we didn't anticipate the magnitude of that shift. Both Target and Walmart say that they will probably be laying off workers because they're making a lot less margins per item. What is your margin? Your margin is the amount of money that you make in between how much it costs you to buy something and you to sell something, including workforce, gas, and everything from A to Z. You see, it's not just the price you see on the shelves. There's a lot that goes into pricing, and the margins are not as huge as you would think. Since we have inflation, since everyone's charging more, even if people are buying more, the big box retailers are making less margin, which means they will have to lay off workers, which means what I'm reading you right now is going to get a lot worse before it gets better. But it must get worse before it can get better. Like I said, it's bittersweet. This is showing you that the economy is starting to get back on track. But the funniest thing is, as the economy is getting back into track, that actually means that the economy is weak. And as the economy has inflation, that actually shows you that the economy is strong. It's kind of reverse. As there is inflation, that means that the country is ramping up and it's overheating. As there's less inflation and less spending, that means that our economy is actually slowing down. So it's actually an inverse reaction and not what you would think it would actually be. Inflation is requiring companies to prepare and act, said Shane Grant, CEO of Danon's North America's operations. The French food company, he said, is evaluating a range of pricing and promotional strategies as well as product lineup changes. We are identifying how we can alleviate pressure as consumers shop for essentials. Brittany Belize, a single mother in Mariester, Florida, said she has stopped buying most non-essential grocery items such as ice cream and after-school snacks after her bi-monthly grocery bill jumped by about $150 to around $360 per trip. Guys, you all know my buddy Oleg. I talk about him a lot. It was just his birthday 2 days ago. Happy birthday again, Oleg. He's a truck driver. He says that gas is obliterating his profit margins. There goes that word, margins. For example, let's say you get paid $1,000 for a delivery on your truck. Normally, your gas would cost you $200. That means you made a profit of $800. Now, tomorrow, your gas costs you $400, but you're still getting paid $1,000, which means your profit margin went down from $800 to $600 on the same exact hole and the same amount of hours that you needed to put in to that hole. Guys, the moral of this video is brace for freaking impact because it is coming. We are most certainly in a recession right now. None of this is financial advice, purely entertainment and educational only. But you don't make the most money at the top. That's a fact. You make the most money at the bottom preparing for the top. Have a great day.